Bula and welcome to this panel discussion on football in Fiji. This panel discussion is going to take you beyond the game as we do critical analysis, hear interesting perspectives, and listen to a wide range of views relating to football in Fiji. This panel discussion has been started in relation to the gap that we have observed in the mainstream media. It appears that football has become a laughing matter uh, if you look at the sort of coverage that has been accorded to it by some media, where the tournament build-up shows and other programs that they have held has had nothing serious or constructive to offer. So it is important that alongside the fun and entertainment element, we do give due uh, due serious coverage and analysis to football in this country. On today's panel, we have got a very interesting lineup of football personalities whose views are we believe are going to be of interest to our viewers. First up, we have Mr. Gurjit Singh, who is one of the most prominent local football coaches and who has had numerous successes coaching various district teams in Fiji. Next up, we have Mr. Nazil Baksh, who is the current president of Rewa Football Association, and we also have joining us from Brisbane, Mr. Binesh Prasad, who is a former administrator of Lambasa Football Association and who is an avid follower of football in Fiji. My name is Nilesh Lal, and I'm also a former administrator, and I also run various social media platforms and have been a football analyst and commentator for some years now. So, gentlemen, welcome to this panel. Um, the very first question I'm going to throw to Mr. Gurjit Singh. I know that you have followed all the matches that were held over the last weekend. So, what is your initial reaction to the matches?
Yes, actually, I followed all the games. Start off with Ba versus Nisinu. I think Ba did well, getting the 3 points. And looking at Nisinu, I think they already know they are demoted. And overall, the game, they didn't have that much fitness to last 90 minutes. Even though Ba used the third keeper, who mostly plays striker, but Nisinu was not that dedicated or determined to win. The next game, Nandi Latoka was equally balanced, both equally balanced teams. And it was a good win for Nandi, the defending champions. And also a good win for Coach Kamal Sami, who had a lot of critics. And he has showed that Nandi team is still alive and they can still do much better in this tournament. And then last weekend on Sunday, the first game, Suva versus Navua. I think Suva did very well, scoring 4 goals. At the same time, Navua did have few attempts, and the weakness was the goalkeeper. And I think they will come up strongly in the next game. And Rewa versus Lambasa, I think Rondu did gamble by putting 7 of his best 11 players on the bench. Whereas Lambasa, they should have scored in the first half if they wanted to keep Rewa under pressure, but they could not score. And they had a chance when they got a penalty to score. Even then, they could not score. And if you look at the game, Rewa scored all 4 goals in the last 20 minutes. After Rondu made those tactical changes, those fresh players, good players who were on the bench, they came in and they made a big difference. But if, as I said, it was a gamble, if Lambasa would have scored in the first half and they would have scored this penalty too, then Rewa would have been under pressure. And the game could have gone either way. But overall, Rewa and Suva, I think they were my best teams for this last weekend's games.
Okay, yeah. So that brings us to Nazil Baksh. Nazil, your team achieved a tremendous win last weekend. That 4-0 victory over tournament favorites Lambasa was a great result. what was your reaction to it?
Thank you, Nilesh. First of all, I would like to thank you about for this forum that you have created. It's a very positive sign, and I would love to see this grow from here, and also would love to see that um more of a commitment could be shown by the national body and incorporate all like a national coach who can also be part of this, and some other top personalities of football to be part of it, and we can grow this match analysis and um, this uh, this program about the as for the Fiji Fact itself. We have seen all throughout this year. We kind of always play under pressure. We always stand up in the second half, in the last quarter of the match. The same similar situation was with us against Lautoka in our last national league. We were down 3-0, and we turned up in the second half, scored 4 goals. So even if Lambasa would have scored those penalties, I think the team is again very much motivated to do well after losing out to Suva in National League. And again, what can we say about our coach? He always gambles with the team. He have kind of a confidence with his players that you can't see much in Fiji right now, where a coach trust his entire 22. That's what Marika actually have been doing with the team. He have been playing the entire 20 in any tournaments, if you see right from the beginning. Even in National League, he has been playing players and actually using his second 11, if you call it second 11. He always uses his second 11 in build-up matches, in friendlies that Rewa have been playing. So kind of he has been preparing his second 22 always, and in matches like this we always kind of depend on our players coming in. So he made a gamble with the lineup, knowing that the five police players who were on duty whole of last 2 weeks, and they came very tired into the camp. So using them was not a good option at that time. Plus on Saturday we had a futsal fixtures where few of Rewa's main players were used. So again, those players were rested to be used in second half, and actually it paid off big time. When you're looking at players like Bruce Brothers, Tevita, they're coming in and actually took the game to the next level, and Lambasa totally misjudged on the tactics used by Marika. So I think that was the whole reason why we always stand up in second half very strongly compared to other teams. Even in IDC, almost all of the matches we kind of finish off very strongly when we talk about 90 minutes of football. We always finish off very strongly in the last quarter of the matches.
Okay, so Coach Rondu has, of course, been taking gambles, as we've mentioned, but he has also been making very good use of the extended squad that he has got at his disposal. Coach Gurjit Singh, do you think, in this particular instance, the gamble that was taken by Coach Rondu to put some of his best players on the bench against a team like Lambasa, given its current caliber and form. Do you think it was a particularly risky move which could have gone either way?
Yes, definitely it could have gone otherwise, but it all depends upon the what strategies did Lambasa look into it. So it's very important what the coaches think and how they line up the best 11. And like they were playing against, as I said, if they would have scored few goals, it's a competition. It's tough competition now. So it would have gone the other way. But as Nazil has said, Rondo has a lot of confidence with the boys. And some of the games they have won, mostly in the second half or last 10, 15, 20 minutes. This is where the other coaches of other teams should note it and how to counter all these things. Those things are very, very important for the future games.
Talking about Reva, Nazil last year, when Reva had a particularly bad season, and many people had actually written off the team. Most people thought that the team did not have what it took, but you continue to have confidence in your boys. You retain them. You did not make too many acquisitions in the transfer window that followed. How did you manage to continue to maintain your confidence in a team that had such a long losing streak?
Well, 2019 was a particularly very, very tough year for us. For me personally, as an administrator, I haven't been in that kind of position before. Just barely surviving Premier League. Last match against Tavua, we lost that match, and we just survived by goal difference. But this project have been there for the last 4 years, I think. The team we have been building was actually started by Marika, and we at that time we set up a goal that winning the national league was the main priority, and playing in OCL was again the main priority of the team. We did manage to get there in 2017, but when Marika actually got on board with Fiji football, that's where we couldn't find any capable coach that could actually take the team up. That's where we really struggled in 2019, and with Marika coming back, we just turned things around. And 2020, we finished the league on same point difference with the Suva, the National League champions, and lost the first place just by goal difference. So it was a very good. I mean, it was quite a turnaround from 2019. Overall, it was a very difficult year for us in 2019. We lost quite a few sponsors, if you could say that. But the officials, the players, we stick around, and I would say it was a miracle kind of thing that the way things turned around in 2020, and 2021 would be another year where we would be playing Champions League. So our preparation actually starts this Fiji Fest. That's how we should be, preparing a team for OCL. Shouldn't be a one month, 2 month thing, but a 7-8 months time period for the team to prepare for OCL.
The next question that I have is for Vinesh. As a former football administrator, do you think that the current tournament format that we have is suitable? Do you think that it has a positive impact in as far as the performances of different teams and players are concerned? Do you think it is suitable generally?
Thank you, Nilesh, and good day, Gurjit and Nazil. As a former administrator, I feel, you can have both the positive and negative side of the current formats of both tournament and league. And earlier, as I was just having a chat with Gurjit, I did mention that for some reason, the Thanda out of National League has been taken away because of the tournaments. And it is a well-known fact that National League is the most recognized tournament or event in a soccer calendar all over the world. And based on that, I think these current tournaments, which is 90-minute tournaments, and it's day in, day out, and it is having a bit of impact on players physically and mentally, I think, and also the impact on officials and the family who are all associated with a district team. So I think either we should relook at the tournaments. We have 3 tournaments in Fiji. Whether we should reduce it or for some reason put in more prominence to National League. And if we do that, I think Fiji soccer eventually will be going up a notch. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinesh. We have just been joined by Marika Rondo, the coach of Rewa Football Association, and he happens to be the man of the moment. Of course, he delivered a tremendous victory against Lambasa last Sunday, and he was the architect of that win. And everybody is talking about the huge gamble that he took by putting some of his best players on the bench and releasing them or putting them on the field of play very late into the match. First of all, Marika, welcome to this panel discussion. And can you tell us a bit about what made you take such a gamble? Because it could have gone either way, couldn't it?
We took the risk in starting another group of players compared to the usual players that we started. Just keeping in mind that Lambasa does not have the luxury of the depth in their bench. The whole season they've been playing the same starting 11, and they have become predictable in terms of their game, and they knew that we can keep the ball for most of the time. But in this game, we chose to give them the ball. So I think in the first half, they had a lot of ball possession, but it was just something that we were allowing them to fall into a trap. In the beginning of in the second half, I can see the Lambasa defenders started to expose their line. They started to make runs in a very, I can say, unstructured way. You can see Antonio pushing up, but then that was the cue for us. And then straight away we went from 1 striker to 4 striker, and I think we put that pressure on.
Okay, so essentially your strategy was to let Lambasa have bulk of the possession and for you to tire them out, and then ensure that you do not concede any goals in the process. And then when Lambasa players tired out, then you would send in your key impact players. So what would have happened if Lambasa had actually got a early lead, if they had managed to score early?
If Lambasa would have scored an early goal, it was a question of what if they scored. We would have first changed the shape within the players that were starting. Second, we would have gone for the tactical change in the second half to put more pressure in the defense. Obviously, if they scored, they would have dropped back and defend. So we had asked ourselves these what if questions. And I think we were clear about the course of action if Lambasa had scored. It was something that we didn't want, but I think the boys stuck to that game plan.
Okay, so going forward, you've got 2 games remaining against Pestap and then last game against Nasinu. So what is the sort of results that you're going for? And how are you approaching these remaining 2 games?
I've reminded the boys to go and have fun in this game. It's the climax of the Fiji football calendar in terms of the competition. Just to go and have fun, enjoy the game, and apply things that we've been working on. Lambasa is a different game altogether. They have their fair share of problem. They've brought in a new keeper of Sanelawanga. So we will try and penetrate and exploit some key areas where we feel they can be exploited on a certain moment.
Thank you very much, Coach Marika Rondo, for joining us, and we wish you the very best. We'll let you go because I understand you are conducting training at the moment. But best of luck in the remaining fixtures.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach Singh, we are talking about player fatigue and the fact that the tournament format that we have at the moment doesn't really allow for teams to get that mandatory 48-hour rest, which is required under FIFA regulations. So, do you think you have obviously worked behind the scenes preparing teams? How much of an impact, in your view, does this have on actual output from the players, and subsequently on the standard of football that we see during tournaments?
Yeah, actually, the Fiji teams have adapted to this system, and to change it, looking at the financial problems, it will be very tough to have games for 2 weeks or something like that. But fatigue is a major problem. I know some of the coaches who have taken the teams for recovery, and they have performed well. So recovery is very, very important in this tournament, especially playing 90-minute game every day. And sometimes you don't have even that much rest. So let's see what the Fiji football can do in future. It also depends upon the districts too, if they can agree to have for 2 weeks or so. And as I see, it will be tough to have it for 2 weeks, not like in overseas where they have it for some, they spread it for 2 weeks or so. So fatigue will be the major problem. Still players face that, but it's lucky that our players survive till the final. But if these types of games, if are held in overseas, it will be very tough for the players to survive and to perform.
Nazil, it would be interesting to hear what your views are on that.
Just like Coach Gurjeet have mentioned that teams here have actually adapted to this tournament format. And actually the fans, Fijian fans are also always waiting for these tournaments to come around. And in all this, I think the main victim here is the National League itself, where actually the focus should be. And the mentality here needs to change, right from the districts to the fan base too. That the focus always should be on National League. We tend to be more prepared for tournaments and even pay our players and be prepared for tournaments rather than National League, where the main prize is. It's a tournament that the team qualifies to. So that's that attitude, that mentality actually needs to change. The question of player fatigue in tournaments, well, that we can only recognize that once we recognize that where our priority should lie, what we should be actually doing, and what tournament, what format we should be enjoying right now. But again, that needs to change right from the top.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. It was a very interesting discussion that we had in this very first panel discussion that we held today, and we definitely look forward to similar ones in the future. Nazil, thank you very much for joining us. We wish Rewa the very best in the remaining games. Coach Gurjit Singh, we will continue to engage with you further. I know you are following the entire tournament from the US, and your views are always very interesting, very insightful, and I think Fijian football lovers definitely hold you in very high regard and are always very interested to listen to your assessment and analysis. This is it for this initial panel discussion. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll be back with another episode in the near future. Thank you.